Hi friends, it's pumpkin pie season, and this video is about how I make a pumpkin pie. Cut each stick of butter, into 8 pieces. Place the butter into the food processor. Mix together 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Add the flour mixture into the food processor. Oops, I knocked over my other recipe book. It'll take me a few minutes to get it set back up and then back to doing my pie crust. Pulse the flour and butter mixture for a few seconds in the food processor, just until it makes like pea-sized clumps in the flour. Then slowly add about 1/4 of a cup of ice cold water into the mixture. Pulse the food processor a few more times until the dough begins to form a ball. I'm headed over to the drawer to get some plastic wrap, and I'm going to lay it down on the counter to dump that dough onto it. Now I'm headed out over to get more tools to get my bench scraper and also the food scale because I'm going to measure the dough when I cut it in half so that each pie crust will be equal. Now I am zeroing out the scale, um, preparing to put the dough on there to weigh it. Now I'm bringing all the pieces of the dough together into one piece and making it into a smooth ball. Now that I've got the dough pretty much measured into equal weights, I'm going to wrap it in plastic wrap and then refrigerate it, and then we'll bake the pies tomorrow. Good morning, friends. I'm a little on the slow uptake today. I've been kind of burning the candle at both ends, trying to enjoy fall, get caught up with my yard work. I was sick for 2 weeks, and so I am so behind on everything. So I've got to somehow figure out how to pace myself. But today I'm making pumpkin pies. One for me to slice up and put into my freezer, and one I'm sharing with my granddaughter because she loves pumpkin. And she's expecting a little one, so this will be a special treat because you have a little cravings, you know, during that time. I'm also going to make a cheesecake, a Jello cheesecake, um, for my grandson-in-law. He's not a fan of pumpkin, but I want to love on him a little bit too. And so that's the hard part about balancing life is just being able to do the things you need to do, but also do the things for your family while you have the chance to do it, because life can just slip away in a heartbeat. So anyway, enough of that. I'm getting ready now to roll out pie crusts, and thought you might enjoy coming along with me as I work on these pies. I made the dough yesterday, as you saw in the earlier part of this video, and I chilled the dough in the refrigerator, and now I'm going to roll it out. These little things, these little shakers, these are antique ones. My husband's grandmother had these, and then my mother-in-law had them. And I think I'm missing a bench scraper. I think that's dirty, so I'm going to have to get one of these out. This, by the way, this island. This is my baking island. This is actually an old dresser. And one of these days I'm gonna do a video and show you what I did with this old dresser. How I transformed it into my baking center. I have all of my supplies in one spot. This, I will tell you a little bit of backstory on it. It used to be part of a bedroom set. Actually was my husband's and my first bedroom set. It had belonged to his grandmother and his Nana. And then it was passed down to my daughter. It was her first bedroom set growing up. And then when she had a child, a little girl, this belonged to her as her first bedroom suite as well. But then as she grew up, moved out, started a family of her own, really didn't need this dresser any longer. And so my daughter was trying to repurpose her daughter's old bedroom. And I said, well, let me measure and see whether or not I can find somewhere to do it. I like to take something and try to reuse it if I can, not to make things junky or cluttered. Just to be able to repurpose something. And I had been using an old table, like a conference table, at Christmas time, Thanksgiving, whatever, whenever I do like buffets for the family. And I would set everything out here by the counters, and it functioned very well. And I always put a nice tablecloth on it and made it look nice, but it's not something you wanted to keep out all year. And I was getting so I really would like to have had something in between my stove and the refrigerator just to set things down on. And so I got to thinking about that dresser. I thought, well, that might work as a baking center. It'll give me extra storage in the kitchen. Which it does. And I have all of my supplies in one location instead of pulling them out of different cabinets and drawers. Everything's right here. Okay, so we got that left over. And I'm going to roll this under. I do not make fancy pies, so if I flub up on it, it's just family style. And once I get this crimped, I'm going to pop it into the refrigerator to chill. And then I will proceed to work on making the pumpkin filling. But what I do, I just use my thumb and first finger and on a slant, I pinch it. That's how I do my crimping. What I do is where I've left off, I put my finger there or thereabouts and just go for the next one. Now I made a little hole there, but you know, this is life. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is not for a magazine. This is for my family. And how it tastes is what's important. And it goes pretty quickly, especially after you've done this for a long time. For the longest time, though, I did not make pies because I was not successful at all. I just gave up on it. I'm making the crust and stuff. Still not do it. Still have issues at times with the crust. Now today, this one went together pretty well, thankfully. But anyway, there's the crust. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and I'm going to talk while I'm doing that. Anyway, I was telling you something. I might have lost my train of thought. Getting ready to do another crust. Let me stop a second and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. What I actually did, I went back and did a playthrough what I was working on, because I lost my train of thought when I was moving that pie crust. But anyway, I do not always make pies. I've always liked to bake. I've always liked to cook. I just like anything homemaking wise. And so the one thing I never could seem to get right was pie crust. And I guess I was in my 50s, late 50s maybe. And I would just reached a point where I was like, I am determined. I am going to learn how to make a pie crust, a good pie, before I leave this earth. Not that it's anything earth-shaking not to be able to make a pie crust, but it was a goal I set for myself. And so I experimented with different recipes. Everybody has their own favorites. But the one that has worked the best for me has been the one that Martha Stewart put out called, I think it's called the Perfect Pie Crust. I'm going to put the recipe at the bottom of this video. It's a butter crust, of course. And that, I think that's the secret, is just butter. I've tried the ones that use shortening. I've tried the ones that use vinegar. But this one is my favorite. Now this one particularly, if you saw the earlier part of this video where I was mixing up the dough and stuff, the only thing I didn't do well, that you really should do, is have everything chilled really well. The butter for this was a little softer than it should have been. And I've left this out of the refrigerator today because I'm doing multiple things. And it's softer than it usually is. But you know what? It still tastes good. It may not be the perfect flakiness, but it'll be a good crust no matter how you do it. And these little scraps make wonderful little snacks. If I get a chance, I may do a video on that. Just depends on how my day goes. I'm kind of on a time crunch here, and I need to make sure I take a rest. Today I'm going to go see my family and spend a little time with a sweet little 2-year-old boy, and get down on the floor and play with him. He's big into monster trucks, and so that's what we'll be doing today, I'm sure, is monster trucks. So I'm trying to figure out how to pace myself a little bit. As you get older, you don't quite have the energy, but I will say I do have good energy, and I'm thankful for that. So here I am on the second pie, crimping it. And the next thing I'm going to do is work on the pumpkin filling. If you make a hole, you just patch it up, and if you have to, you've got extra dough, you can reach out and do it. And this one I'm not doing. I'm doing this one a little more in a hurry, so this will be my pie. Because I just want to try to get done. I'm not sure what time it is. 12 o'clock already. So anyway, that's going to go in the refrigerator to chill while I make the filling. Of these pumpkin pies. And this, I guess I'll put it in plastic. I should have saved those, saved those pieces of plastic. Well, I got a piece of wax paper. That'll be good enough. So what I'm going to do is wrap this up, put it in the refrigerator for now. This mess will just stay there. I'm going to start on this pumpkin. I'm going to turn you off and get myself set up with my ingredients. And then I'll be back to mix up the pie. So see you in a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. Got my ingredients all set out here to make it a little quicker to do, so you're not sitting here watching me measure everything. I'm opening up the can of pumpkin. The recipe for the pumpkin pie is on the back of this particular can that I am using. Scoop this into the pan. Oh, I bet you I'm doing this wrong. Wait a minute, I think I'm ahead of myself. I need to mix my dry ingredients in a small bowl. Okay. I'm not paying attention, am I? Trying to go too fast. Well, this is as small as it's going to get. So, into the small bowl, we're going to put the dry ingredients. So that will be 3/4 of a cup of sugar, a half a teaspoon of salt, and together I have mixed up this 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 a teaspoon of ground cloves. Take a whisk and whisk all of that together. Okay, good enough. Set that aside. Put this back. Now, as you can see, I goofed. I've got a little bit of pumpkin in there. I'm supposed to beat the eggs up first. I'm going to beat them together. You're going to see this done family style for sure. See, this is my garbage bowl for the eggs. There's 1 egg. 2 eggs, and I did get a little bit of shell in there. Come here, fella. Okay, now we're in good shape. Move this out of the way. And I did not have this plugged in, so we will do that now. This little gadget right here, this little hook, I don't know whether you can see it or not very well. Try to give it a profile. Found that on Etsy. It's a peel and stick, and it's very strong, sturdy, to be able to coil your plug up, because mine was always in the way. So I'm going to plug that in, lock the head, and let's see, we're just going to beat these. Okay, so I have to just beat them. So you're going to listen to that for a few minutes. It won't take very long. It's just basically to let you try them. Okay, so now put this up. And I'm going to pour in the rest of this. Okay, I didn't get that video taken. But anyway, you know what a pumpkin pie looks like. So it's in there on the shelf. And the temperature is 425 for the first 15 minutes. Cool on a wire rack for 2 hours. You can either serve it immediately or you can refrigerate it. Doesn't this pie look yummy? Thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Click on the bell so that you will be notified of my next video. Again, thanks for coming by, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.